All right, well, good evening, everyone. My name is Chelsea Jackson. I am the Community Partnerships Director at Interfaith Philadelphia and was the lead in directing and coordinating the Crafting Community Project, which has given us this wonderful cookbook and this opportunity to launch the cookbook into the world. Um, just before we launch in today, I just want to remind everyone that this will be recorded. So if you would prefer not to have your cell phone video, then go ahead and mute your video. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Just want to make sure I'm seeing some folks that might be having some issues. So Interfaith Philadelphia, for those who are unfamiliar, is a nonprofit and organization that serves the greater Philadelphia region and now beyond, in the midst of COVID especially. And we've been around for over 16 years and really just seek to foster understanding across all kinds of differences, interreligious, intercultural, intergroup differences. And so we do this through a wide variety of programs. We have programs for youth. We have a cohort program for women and non-binary folks. We have workshops and trainings. We kind of run the gamut. So if you are interested to learn anything else about what Interfaith Philadelphia does, then feel free to check out our website or email me directly. Everyone should have gotten an email from me if you found your way here, but you can email me at cj@interfaithphiladelphia.org. And Danny, if you could just throw that in the chat, please. So tonight, we're not here to talk about all the things Interfaith Philadelphia does. We're here to talk about one thing specifically, and that is the Crafting Community Project and the cookbook that has come to life because of it. And so for those that don't know, the Crafting Community Project is an initiative of Interfaith Philadelphia's that is neighborhood focused and seeks to build relationships of resilience and solidarity and community and understanding at the ground level in neighborhoods throughout Philadelphia. And so the neighborhoods that we have been invited to work within and have partners within are South Philadelphia, Kensington, and West Philadelphia. And the cookbook is the first kind of art project that has come out of this Crafting Community Project. And so part of the project uses art and education to build intergroup relationships. And part of the project is a big community art project. And so it's very community-based and collaborative in nature. And so we went to the South Philadelphia community and to our partners and asked, what do you love about South Philadelphia? And a thing that came up time and time again was the food scene and the diversity that's here, the ethnic and racial and cultural and religious diversity that is present within this community. And then when we said, what would you want to see more of, or what do you think is a challenge or a barrier? They said, well, we often struggle to bridge that diversity in ways that feel like we can go beyond the silos of those different communities. And so a cookbook seemed like a really natural next step to celebrate the strengths and the beauty that South Philadelphia and the community has to offer, and to find a common space to share with one another. And so that's how the cookbook came to be. It's been community-based through and through. We couldn't have done it without the South Philadelphia community and the folks that have shared their recipes and in a way really invited us into their homes, into their families, into their cultural practices around food. And for that, we are deeply, deeply grateful. And we'll be hearing from some of those folks today. So before we dive in, I do want to take time to just honor and recognize those folks that have contributed. And so here I have the actual cookbook right here. And I was delivering these around South Philadelphia this morning. And so it was kind of cool. I haven't been out of the house very much. And so it was kind of cool to be driving around and seeing all the places that we've built partnerships, and the wide kind of geographic range that, helped create this book. And so throughout the night, you'll see a link to order the book if you would like. And if you're a contributor, then you get a book. And so just let me know, contact me if you want to learn more about the book or how to get one. And Danny will put the order form also in the chat. But real quick, I want to just recognize and honor those that made this possible. And so if you were a contributor, you submitted a recipe or a blessing or information about a dietary practice, about your faith tradition, if you contributed any of the content in the cookbook, could you use your little reaction button on the bottom, right of your screen, and maybe give a thumbs up sign, or just wave. There we go. And for those folks, yeah, let's just give them a round of applause. It's only going to be me clapping, but I'm going to hear y'all too. There we go. Thank you so much to those contributors, to those folks that submitted and worked with us on, fine-tuning and editing and getting the cookbook curated. And then if you are a staff member of Interfaith Philadelphia, or you consulted on this project, or you're a member of the team, and therefore had a hand in this, could you also give a thumbs up? And let's give those folks a round of applause. And I do have to give a special shout out to Bethany, who is on the call. Bethany Welch was our cookbook curator and was with us throughout the creation, from getting the recipes to doing the many edits, to finding the things that threaded throughout this cookbook to make it feel like a beautiful curated piece. And so just shout out to Bethany and the hard work that she put into this. Thank you so much. Yay. And then also I wanted to thank our funders. And so this project would not be possible without the William Penn Foundation, who is the lead funder for the Crafting Community Project. And so I see Hillary here from William Penn. So just thank you so much to William Penn Foundation and to Hillary as our liaison between the foundation and Interfaith Philadelphia for making it happen, answering a lot of my emails. And then also shout out and big thank you to the Jewish Community Relations Council of the Jewish Federation of Greater Philadelphia, so the JCRC, the PA Council of the Arts, and PICO, who all provided funds to both work on the cookbook, but if they didn't go directly to the cookbook, they went to community building and overall workshops and programs that were offered in South Philadelphia. And so we thank them for their support as we work to continue building and fostering community and partnerships in that neighborhood. So without further ado, I want to give a brief outline of the night and then just hand it over to Rowan, who's going to be our kind of MC for the night. So for tonight's launch, unfortunately, we don't have like yummy, delicious food from the cookbook. I mean, like we were dreaming big before COVID hit, but we will still find beautiful ways to connect and to celebrate together. We're going to have Rowan, as I said, be our kind of MC for the evening. He was our, he worked with Interfaith Philadelphia as our community organizer in South Philadelphia, and also made this cookbook happen. This wouldn't have happened without his hard work and support. And so it feels just very it's very right that he's the one leading the evening tonight. And so we'll have Rowan go through our Dare to Understand practices. Everyone should have received a program from me that kind of outlines the evening, and you'll see the Dare to Understand practices. And these are really the practices Interfaith Philadelphia has come to understand to be imperative, to be really vital if we're going to try to build understanding across lines of all kinds of differences. And so Rowan will walk us through, some examples or connecting those to the cookbook, and they're also threaded throughout the cookbook itself. So when you get your copy, you'll be able to see how food and faith and community intersect with these practices. And then we'll have some videos from our cookbook contributors. We have 4 videos from 4 contributors. Some are cooking meals from other contributors, and so they're cooking recipes that aren't their own, but that they wanted to try. And then we have Chef Donnell is going to or gives a brief word about food and faith and community and those intersections. And we have Kai having a meal with their friend as well, and talking about those same intersections. So we have some fun videos coming up. And we also will take brief time to enter into some conversation with one another, because around a shared table, you typically have a conversation. It's part of the power of the whole shebang. And so we are going to have a paired breakout room where you'll be invited to answer a quick question. And then we'll have a little bit of a larger small group. So 3 or 4 folks in each room later on to answer another question. And you'll get those questions later. So that's an outline of the evening. Really, it's just a time for us to celebrate together and just reflect and explore a little bit of what South Philadelphia has to offer, as well as what food and faith and community, how they all meet at a shared table. So with that being said, I'm gonna hand it off to Rowan. Thank you so much, Rowan.
Thanks so much, Chelsea. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm here live in South Philadelphia, corner of 22nd and Siegel Street. And I'm so excited to be here with the launch of the cookbook. For folks who haven't gotten it yet, this is the beautiful cookbook. It has many pages, many beautiful images, and I'm super grateful to be here tonight with all of you. So the first Dare to Understand practice that we're gonna kind of look at is this idea of be curious. And we have so many things in South Philadelphia. I think one of my favorite things about living here is walking through all of the different neighborhoods and seeing things that I personally I'm really unfamiliar with. You know, we have the Italian market, we have the Vietnamese shops, we have wonderful, vibrant, historic Black neighborhoods, and each one of these things have their own energy to bring to the table. And I think a lot of times folks, when encountering something unfamiliar, we can be met with fear or hesitation. But with this Dare to Understand practice, we really invite you to maybe take a moment when you encounter something new and take a pause and really think to yourself, how can I be curious about this? How can I reframe this new thing and think, I wonder how this person interacts with this object, or I wonder how this person interacts with this food, or how is this thing that is so different to me potentially so everyday to someone else? We're going to be showing a really great video that Ide, who I believe is here with us, has submitted, and then sharing Ide's story and Ide's cooking of a recipe that Ide learned from a friend of a different culture. So we can take it away. Thanks, Danny.
Hi there, this is Aide, and today I will be preparing one of the recipes that you will find in the South Philadelphia cookbook that is coming up. This is a Filipino recipe and is possible thanks to our dear contributor Carmel, and it brings me so many memories of my time working alongside the immigrant communities in South Philly, and the Filipino community was one of them. And I still remember the day that I met the community, and in fact, they were having a meeting with their members and some prayer and some reflection and some just time to hang out. It happens that I was there, and they just invited me, and they really wanted to make sure that I try their food, and they really want to make me feel welcome. I need to finish dicing the onion and the garlic. So while I'm trying to do that, I also wanted to share why I got involved with the South Philadelphia cookbook. And I think an important part of this project, at least for me, is that it gave me the opportunity to share a little bit of my heritage, my culture, and also I don't know about you, but every time that I think about food, it's about like sharing. It brings me memories of my family, my friends, and also my neighbors back in Ecuador. I am originally from Ecuador. I am a Catholic, and for me, food has been a way to communication, has been sometimes a bridge among different cultures. Is sometimes a way of prayer, a way of being intentional, being present. And as my mom always says, like, food is a way to say, to express love. So recipe asks you to saute the onion and garlic, and once you've done that, you will add the protein of your preference. So I'm using chicken this time. When the noodles are done and the veggie and protein part is also done, so you are gonna mix. You're gonna add the veggie part to the noodles, and you are going to combine this amazing flavors here. I made it, and I'm so happy and excited to try it. So here, the final step is to add some fried garlic and scallop and some lime juice. So very excited to get the opportunity to prepare this. I think South Philadelphia has so much gifts and to offer to the community. So many beautiful people there. Like, diversity is such a big opportunity to find community. I think, and I think what is important about that is that when you celebrate all cultures and all backgrounds, all peoples, you are creating spaces for people to belong, to be part of. So when someone feels recognized and feel part of something, you create that connection. And I'm a believer that when you have that, people want to do more for the community. And I hope that this projects keep continuing creating those opportunities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again, Ade, for submitting that beautiful video and for making this food kind of with us as we digitally witness. I love the idea of food as prayer and food as love. That is so beautiful and resonates so strongly with me. Next, we're going to be going into breakout rooms. And we're going to share with each other what was your favorite meal as a child, and do you have a specific memory associated with that meal? So we can get to know one another and share with each other in that way. Wonderful. Alrighty. So as we move on to our next Dare to Understand practice, we're really thinking about this idea of venturing out. So as I mentioned before, South Philadelphia specifically has such rich diversity. And I think with this time of COVID, well, we're all inside. There's this question of how do we venture out? How do we participate in one another's lives and look and see things that are different and maybe a little bit uncomfortable? And I think this cookbook is actually a really great avenue into venturing out, where we can take something, from this cookbook or something that we find online and engage in something unfamiliar, as a way to connect to one another really genuinely. So I'm going to introduce Katie's video. Katie shared this wonderful, wonderful video of her cooking a dish that she had never cooked before. And I thought that was, so exciting and so brave. So thank you, Katie.
Hello, my name is Katie Moore and I am the Business Director of Community Dancers, which is a nonprofit professional dance company based in South Philadelphia since 2008. I've also been a resident of South Philly for the past 5 years, and I'm honored to be a contributor to Interfaith Philadelphia's South Philly Crafting Communities Cookbook. My contribution to the South Philly Cookbook was the zesty veggie tofu chili, but today I'm going to be making the Puerto Rican pastelitos submitted by Kai Rakoff. So step 1 is to defrost the discos, which is the dough that we're going to be using later on to fry the meat. Then step 2 is to cook the ground beef. I got involved with the Community Cookbook because 1, I love to cook, and 2, I really enjoyed being involved with Interfaith Philadelphia on several different occasions, including partnering with them to facilitate story circle gatherings at KYLD's dance studio to inform the creation of a new dance work called Faith Project The Door, as well as hosting and participating in a crafting communities meeting and taking part in a civil conversations facilitators training. So next we're going to be putting the meat onto the discos, adding the sprinkled cheese, and beginning to fold the pastry. It's important to celebrate the diverse cultures in South Philadelphia because there's so much rich history that has existed in this area for decades, which continues to change each year. People of diverse backgrounds enrich the community and bring new traditions and ideas to the area, and engaging in cultures other than your own supports deeper understanding, provides opportunities to celebrate diversity, and makes us feel proud and connected to where we live. Now, with fingers partially dipped in water, we're going to wet the edges of the dough. We're going to fold into a pocket, pressing the edges together. I hope people will utilize this cookbook as a tool for engaging in new culturally rooted experiences and as a tool to foster intercultural and interfaith dialogue with their friends, family, neighbors, and other community members. Now we're going to add 1 inch of vegetable oil to our large pan, heat it up, and then start putting several of the pastelitos in at a time to fry until golden brown on both sides. Thanks for joining me in my first time making Puerto Rican pastelitos. Cooking is definitely something that takes time, patience, and practice, which is one of the reasons I love cooking, because it's a ritual that you can have for yourself and one that you can share with family and friends. Thank you so much. Take care and happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Katie. Yeah, round of applause. I love this silence applause. It's amazing. That was so lovely. I love so much how Katie ventured out and made this dish. I think a great job. It looked beautiful. I'd love to have some. Our next Dare to Understand practice is to welcome in. And I think for me, this is one that I personally struggle with. Welcoming in is such a vulnerable act. It is, really, hospitality is such a gift. And when we welcome someone in, we are showing to folks what we hold dear, what is precious to us, and also really keeping in mind, how can I make this person who I'm welcoming into my space most comfortable, especially when thinking about meal preparation. When we're inviting somebody into a meal that we prepared, we're hoping that they like it. We're thinking about this dish that we're making, and maybe they've never experienced it before. So, making sure no one has allergies is important. Making sure people are comfortable and they know what they're eating, how to eat the food, how to be in your house. Do you take the shoes off beforehand? All of this is a part of really welcoming people in and being mindful of our differences to create a warm hosting environment is super important and super essential to not only meal times together, but working as a community and cultivating great, healthy relationships with one another. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a video by Kai and Kai's friend, where they make Puerto Rican pastelitos as well. And this is a recipe that they themselves made and created, and is from their own recipe. Take it away.
Hey guys, my name is Kai, but most people know me as Miss Thing, and today we're going to be sitting down and enjoying some Puerto Rican pastelillos. This is a recipe I learned from a friend of my mother's who is also Puerto Rican. I'm Boricua on my father's side and Ashkenazi Jew on my mother's side, but growing up with my mother, I never really got in touch with my Taino heritage. So learning to make a meal that is popular with my people helped me feel a little bit closer to my culture. I almost forgot. Let me introduce my friend Mai. Mai, everybody.
Hi, I'm Mai. I'm 26, they, she pronouns, and I'm an Aquarius.
Mai's actually one of the first people to ever make pastelitos with me. The process can be slightly labor intensive depending on how many you're making. So to be able to sit down with a friend and then enjoy the food that you just made together is a very, very rich experience. Before we chow down, I was wondering, did you and your family ever have some sort of ritual or some sort of prayer that you would do before sitting down to enjoy your meal?
In my family, we didn't really have that. It was more of just like a make dinner and sit down and eat it.
Very all-American.
Very, very all-American.
My family is Jewish, but I personally identify as Jewish, so I don't necessarily pray before all of my meals. However, I thought for this very special occasion, Mai and you at home could join us for a Jewish prayer, a Hebrew hymnal, if you will.
I'm gonna do my best here.
So this prayer is more so for miscellaneous foods that aren't grains, vegetables, fruit, or wine, because wine is a food group, contrary to popular belief. So how about I start and you repeat after me?
All right.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam,
Eloheinu melech haolam,
shehakol
shehakol
nihya
yihya
bidvaro.
b'dvaro.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's eat.
Look at that.
You gotta show off
Oh.
the pastelito, of course. Clock the nail, just a subtle nail for pastelitos with friends.
We're gonna do the first bite.
So I figured I'm gonna ask each other a few questions over dinner. Feel free to come up with your own answers at home, of course. And these questions are actually from the Interfaith Philadelphia cookbook that you all should be reading and where you can find this recipe. So I was wondering, do you have any favorite foods these days? Aside from my pastelito recipe, of course.
Honestly, lately it's been pizza.
Pizza?
Pizza. I've been ordering a lot of pizza.
Number one lesson that you guys at home should learn today.
Tip the driver.
Tip
Mega.
boots. During a pandemic, you guys should be tipping at least 20%. So in terms of my favorite food, I'm a big sushi girl myself. I know that's a controversial opinion. I also heard that you could get mercury poisoning if you eat it too much. I'm trying to beat my high score and having sushi every single day.
It's like that, and then when you with boba.
Oh
The
yeah,
boba
I'm also
thing.
super into boba these days, and I also read about a girl who drank boba every day and then had to get her stomach pumped, and it was full of boba. So I'm also trying to beat her high score.
All right. So I got a question for you now.
Yeah, go off.
Is there a favorite meal that you and your family would make growing up?
My family made latkes, very Jewish. Lots of Jewish food. I grew up with a lot of Jewish food. Matzah brie, challah French toast with leftover challah. What about you?
My favorite meal as a child, my mom would make chicken franchise, or some people pronounce it francaise. I actually looked it up. Apparently, no one knows how it's pronounced.
The eighth wonder of the world, chicken franchise. Chicken franchise!
We'd make those, and my mom would make it from scratch. It's the gospel truth.
And that's the gospel truth, mama.
That's the end of that one.
So, let me ask you another question. Is there a particular food that just screams home to you, aside from chicken francaise?
Burger and fries.
Burger and fries, New Jersey?
New Jersey.
The New Jerseyan cuisine.
But if you want to know, it was burger and fries, but they weren't homemade. It was McDonald's.
A food that reminds me of home, I would have to say bagels. I'm a native New Yorker. Nobody does bagels like New York. It's something in the water, plankton or sewage or shrimp or something, but those bagels are... Also, I really love food truck stuff, especially like halal. Food trucks are harder to come by here, I've noticed. What about food-related memories? Do you have any food-related memories?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm trying to think. Because I really tried to think like earlier today.
I personally have a food-related memory.
Not to hype up the halal man again, but there was a halal truck outside of my dorm when I lived in Manhattan. It was run by the nicest man. He always gave me extra green, red, and white sauce. Never skimped. He was my diamond in the rough, my light in the dark. He was the only one there for me. Tip your local halal man.
Please do.
Please tip. I'm gonna just keep reminding you guys to tip. So what about you? Do you have any food-related memories?
So I have one. It is a little funny. It's less about food, more about, it's a food memory, but it's more about what was going on. College, freshman year, I dyed my hair a lot at one point, back when I had hair. So I dyed it white, and a lot of people would mistake me for being older because of that. So here we are, college, I'm walking into the, like the food hall, and I'm picking out my feta and spinach wrap, and then two of the people at the front door they grab me and they start pushing me. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And they're like, you can't be in here, like, this is for students. I was like, I am one. And they did not believe me until I took out my ID, and they're like, we are so sorry.
Ageism is real and it's out there. So we live in the beautiful city of Philadelphia. You've been here for 8 years?
8 years.
8 whole years. I'm curious as to what food that the community has potentially introduced you to.
This one place, it's called Ballet. They have amazing vegetarian banh mi.
Living in Philadelphia has introduced me to an amazing delivery service called Black and Mobile. It seeks to prioritize Black businesses, especially now when a lot of people are ordering in. It is great to support your local businesses. Okay, I'm getting a little thirsty. Do you guys think I can open this? Oh, my nail is already jumping ship. Yeah, can you open that? Wait. I could probably...
What do you do? No. Do not mess up your lips.
Shout out to my orthodontist who told me I did not need braces. I can now open cans with my teeth.
You fully tapped your teeth. Tippy tapping on those teeth.
Aha! So, I am kind of full. I don't know about you.
I'm kind of full.
How are you guys feeling? Well, got the tummy stretched and all?
I say that now and probably eat my teeth later though. They're really good. Please make them.
Yeah,
Please make them.
Please enjoy. It's not that hard. Get a friend. Well, if you live with them. Someone in your pod, preferably. Pod Stolitos. Bye!
Can you boot me out?
Oh yeah, bye Mai. Alright guys, this was great. Thank you so much for joining me for dinner this evening. I've been Miss Thing, forever Miss Thing, always will be Miss Thing, and I'll see you later.
Wonderful. Yeah, clap, clap. Thank you, Miss Thing. Thank you, Kai, for submitting such a lovely video. Who would have thought we would have a drag show on a Monday night? What? No. Anyway, that is a perfect segue to our next Dare to Understand theme, Stand Tall. Standing tall really is about standing firm in one's identity, especially these days. There are a lot of aspects of our backgrounds that we hide, sometimes because we fear discrimination, sometimes because folks are parts of multiple marginalized identities. I really always appreciate how Kai, Miss Thing, stands tall in her identities as a Jewish person, as a queer person, and as a Puerto Rican person. That's always something that warms my heart and that I super admire about them. When we all get together, either through a food gathering or a Zoom endeavor event, we all have moments where we can stand tall in our identity and really honor ourselves in that way by being unashamedly ourselves. Also, just because this recipe is really popping apparently. It's on page 34 of the cookbook. I looked it up when we were doing that. So just a reminder for folks with the cookbooks to go and try that spot on recipe. Now we're going to be having a lovely video from Chef Donnell, who I believe is a professional chef and YouTuber and made an excellent video. So we can have that and pull that up here.
This is Chef Don Derry, Chef Don Derry Culinary Conversations. My name is Donnell Jones Craven. Just got finished taping an episode of Culinary Conversation YouTube cooking channel. We did chicken tortilla soup, which is really good this time of year as we get ready to enter into cool weather, some nice comfort food. I get a big kick out of food. Food and friends produces a wonderful fellowship. I've been involved with food from my early childhood age, about 11 years old. My aunt gave me my first cookbook. And from there, I've just been on this journey, which through food, the venue of food, I've met some very interesting, special people and been some interesting, wonderful places. And within those places, as well as spaces and environments, I've been able to cook and just really do what's in me to do, how to create food with the thought process in mind of feeding people. Food to me is life. When you see people come together at a table, it's something very unique, very intimate, as well as very spiritual that ties or binds everyone together. And it has so many spiritual overtones, even those who cook for a living or those who do it just for the joy and the passion of it. You give more than a portion of yourself. You give everything to what you're creating in the pot, what you're chopping, what you're sauteing, what you're roasting, what you're slicing and dicing and making the presentation. You know, especially as we enter this holiday season and, you know, everyone has to cook a little different now because of the current climate of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many people, even right now, are trying to plan, how can we get together for Thanksgiving and Christmas with social distancing and being cognizant of everyone's health and safety concerns, especially as it relates to seniors, as well as children, as well as those who have a low immune system. So I just wanted to share with you that whatever you do this holiday season, enjoy the time you have with your family, your close friends, and make the food come alive. Show love through the food. This is Chef Don Derry. I'm on social media. I'm so happy to be a part of the Interfaith Philadelphia community. I look forward to doing more things to show my support and my passion for food and fellowship through people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chef Don Derry. Yeah, let's have a round of applause for Chef Don. Wonderful stuff. Something that I really love that Chef Don Derry mentioned is this idea of showing love with our food. And, you know, this is a really difficult time that we're all going through. And it's especially difficult for many people who are of lower economic background or going through hardship. So that really brings us to our next Dare to Understand practice, is standing with. Now this year, especially in South Philadelphia, we've seen moments of mass division and also massive inequality. And these inequalities, these divisions are really merely an amplification of the divisions and inequalities that have existed historically in this region, in this country, in this world. So keeping that in mind when we're thinking about food and thinking about, sharing food with one another this holiday season, we can stand with each other in various ways through whether that's, supporting a neighbor who may be facing food insecurity, donating funds. I really love the idea that Ms. Thing put in about tipping folks and ordering from Black-owned businesses. That's, very essential in this moment. So I think that while we, take this time and cook together, we can all have this time. We're going to be moving into a breakout room now. And we can talk about 2 questions. We are going to be asking about, have you ever had a difficult conversation over a meal? I think, the idea of standing with in this time can potentially be very difficult for people. And what was that like, having that difficult conversation over a meal? Another question we can maybe talk about is, if you were to bring a dish to a religious community or gathering, what dish would you bring? Why? We all have so much to offer from our own traditions, and I think it's wonderful to share what we have. So with that, let's go to the breakout rooms. That was so lovely. It was great meeting in small groups and getting a chance to hear, not only what we're celebrating, but also what we're sitting with in this time that can be difficult for a lot of us, and thinking about what really challenges us around food and around each other. So now I'm going to pass it off to Abby, I believe, who's going to close us out and tell us a little bit more about potentially how to purchase the cookbook and more details. So take it away, Abby.
Thank you, Rowan. A hand of applause for being our MC tonight. Thank you so much. And for being our community organizer in South Philly. I can speak for the entire staff and board of Interfaith Philadelphia. We miss having you around. And those were days when we could actually have you around the office. Thank you so much. Of course, bravo to Chelsea, and an apology that she had to step off to something that was beginning. And who championed this from the beginning and is continuing the Crafting Community Project for a few years in a row, and to William Penn Foundation for their faith in this project from the outset, and to Bethany Welsh again for hopping onto our team to bring this cookbook, such rich flavor of the neighborhoods and the people who are in it, and all the stories and the passport practices and the beautiful design and recipes. So Danny Hobbs, who's been behind the scenes helping us tonight with technology, also helped with the videos. So that's something that was super impressive, Danny. Thank you so much for your help with that. That was incredible. And Danny's going to put in the chat a reminder, a link for ways that you can purchase cookbooks. We've actually had many people that have gone onto the website to buy them as holiday gifts, and we're super excited to show off South Philadelphia, as well as conversation prompts like we did tonight, and all the Dare to Understand practices to continue conversations over many meals to come. You will find tonight in your inbox a link to a survey to let us know what you thought about this project, what you thought about the evening tonight that we shared. Please complete that. It just takes 5 minutes, and we learn so much from all of you and how we do this online programming. And finally, if you have any other suggestions, want to get involved in our next neighborhoods, we're working now in the broader Kensington, South Kensington, Fishtown area, please email Chelsea Jackson, cj@interfaithphiladelphia.org. And thanks for joining us. Bon appetit. Do some good cooking. Stay safe. Thanks for joining us.